Alright, Ottawa, you're up next. But here's the problem I face with talking about the Senators. How can I trust the management team to make any sort of logical decision this summer if their decision this summer was to take on the entirety of Dion Phaneuf's contract? Literally, you're stuck with Dion Phaneuf for the next 5 seasons at $7 million a season. Erik Karlsson, your best defenseman by light years, is making $6.5 million for the next 3 years. Phaneuf's going to be making more money than him for 3 seasons. Oh, I forgot Bobby Ryan's going to get paid $7.25 million for the next 6 seasons. Oh, Ottawa, how you guys are so screwed. But thankfully, because you guys are so screwed, you gave me something to talk about, so good on ya. Now I'm going to start with talking about the Dion Phaneuf trade because I don't even know what Ottawa was thinking there. They took on Dion Phaneuf and they didn't make the Maple Leafs retain any salary. And then you look at what the Maple Leafs got. They got a second-round pick in next year's draft. Not this year, next year. We also got a Swedish prospect named Lindberg, and apparently Mark Hanna had him very high on his list of players that the Maple Leafs should be looking at acquiring because he believes he's going to be a solid NHL player one day. And then you look at the throw-ins and you expect them to be pretty bad, but really they're not. Milan McCulloch can definitely be a top 9 forward if he remains healthy, which has been a bit of a problem with him in the past, but when he was playing with the Leafs last year, he looked like a pretty productive forward. Colin Greening got buried in Ottawa's farm team, but when he came to the Maple Leafs, he got some NHL time and even potted a few goals near the end of the season. And then you look at the weird contract of Jared Cowan. Now, I believe Jared Cowan is an NHL defenseman, but in his contract it states that if a team buys him out, the team actually gains salary cap relief instead of losing some. I mean, what kind of negotiation went on with that contract? Alright, Jared, here's your contract, but in it states that if a team wants to essentially cut you, it's going to help them financially, not hurt them. Well, it sounds like my job's protected. Where do I sign? Well, alright, you guys have fun with Dion Phaneuf. I'm going to start talking about the offseason plan. The Ottawa Senators hold the 12th overall pick in this year's NHL entry draft, and I believe they're going to select Tyler Yost with that pick. Sorry, where did he play last season? The BCHL. The BCHL? What the hell is that? The BCHL is the British Columbia Hockey League, and not a lot of players have come out of it. Bo Bennett did a couple years ago, and he's a pretty good player for the Pittsburgh Penguins. Not a path usually taken by players in their draft year, but neither was Austin Matthews, and he turned out pretty good. Although it's kind of tough to compare a men's league in Europe to the British Columbia Hockey League. Well. But it doesn't matter where you came from as long as you can play hockey, and Tyler Yost, he can play hockey. I think he'll be a great scoring centerman in the NHL one day. Looking at free agency, the Ottawa Senators really do not have any big UFAs, but if you look at the pending RFAs, Mike Hoffman is on that list and he's going to make some bank. I'd be very surprised if Mike Hoffman got a contract that was worth less than $5 million a season. Why? Well, I was pretty happy that I selected him for my fantasy hockey team last season. Mike Hoffman might be the best forward that the Ottawa Senators have, so they have to keep him at all costs. They also have to re-sign Cody Ceci, but I don't see that being a big problem. And now we get to talk about all the UFAs that the Ottawa Senators probably can't afford. Well, you got the obvious ones, Steven Stamkos, and you got Kyle Okposo, Milan Lucic, Alex Goligoski, Andrew Ladd. They're probably all too expensive. But you know who they can afford? Or at least I think they can afford? Franz Nielsen. And now the man's 32. By no means is he in the prime of his career, but he can be a good player on the third, even second line. He can kill penalties, and he's a smart hockey player. But ladies and gentlemen, I have a trade idea. Now again, this trade might not go through straight up, so they might have to add a piece or two here or there to even out the trade, but I think it's a good starting block. And by good starting block, I mean the same thing that I did when I meant Tyson Barrie for Jake Gardiner. Like, those two guys are going to be the main centerpieces of the trade, but a team might have to add a piece of here or there to just make the trade go through. And this time I have an idea between the Ottawa Senators and the Edmonton Oilers, who have stressed that they need a change with their core players. So here's my idea for the starting blocks of this trade. I think Ottawa will trade away Cody Ceci, a defenseman, and we all know Edmonton needs a defenseman. And Edmonton trading away Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. Now, I'm not going to be explaining why the Edmonton Oilers should be trading away Ryan Nugent-Hopkins because I already did that. It's in my Edmonton Oilers offseason plan video, and if you haven't seen that, go check it out. But I think Ottawa would love to have a premium number 2 centerman right behind Kyle Turris, and I think Ryan Nugent-Hopkins fits that bill perfectly. And I think Edmonton would absolutely be thrilled to have Cody Ceci play with Darnell Nurse one day. I think those two guys are two defensemen that the Edmonton Oilers could build their blue line around. Both players were deemed future NHL stars while they were in junior, but neither of them have reached that max potential, and I think changing organizations would give them a fresh start and a new outlook on trying to reach that max potential. So the key to the Ottawa Senators offseason is to not rebuild, but maybe retool a little bit, and just remember that you have Dion Phaneuf and Bobby Ryan, who have 2 massive contracts for the next 5+ years. Well, Bobby Ryan 5+, Dion Phaneuf only 5. And you have Erik Karlsson's massive contract coming up in 3 seasons. So they have to keep that in mind while they look at free agent and trade options. So thank you guys very much for watching. Please like the video. Please subscribe. It would mean so much to me. Please like my page on Facebook. All I talk about is hockey. The link to that is down below as always. And please, as always, email me any questions or if you just want to talk hockey. I love talking hockey with you guys. Email any of those to theshanaclan19@gmail.com, and I'll see you guys back here tomorrow for the next episode.